Hello, everybody. This is Into the Dell, and I apologize for not having any videos the last couple of days, but we've been kind of busy, so I'm recording this. In case I mess up, I'm recording this Saturday, the 12th of April. However, I'm going to be doing some editing on it tomorrow, what I can anyway. So, probably won't go up until the 13th sometime. But yeah. Because we are going to be busy a little bit tomorrow. Excuse me. I was trying to keep myself from yawning, and I did it anyway. But, yeah. Cannot stop a yawn, no matter how hard you try. At least I can't. But anyway, I was going to say, I do have some plans for Sunday as well. So, but yeah, I'm going to try to get this. Hopefully it'll be edited and up by Sunday, if not Monday. In which case, depending on what time this edits and gets up, if it gets up by Monday, chances are I'll probably do a video sometime either Monday night or Tuesday, and so on and so forth. But as far as I know, as far as work goes, I think they finally figured out their technical difficulties at work, so he should return back to work on Monday as planned. Work on next week is only 3 days. I knew that was coming because basically they're letting us out with pay on Thursday due to Good Friday and the Easter holiday, so which I am definitely looking forward to. So only got to work 3 days next week. So there's that, and yeah. So let's get into it because I got a lot to cover. First off, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit before I cover last night's stuff and today's stuff. So just go back and recap. So The Masked Singer, we did watch it. It was 1950s, 60s, 70s, and 80s night. So basically they just went back in time. Dang it, I hate when that happens, because then I get into a frenzy. Now I apologize if I'm making everybody yawn right now. But at any rate, so, yeah, basically they used like a time machine. They went back in time. The Yorkie lost, unfortunately. I really liked the Yorkie. She was kind of funny. But she lost. That turned out, when she unmasked, it turns out she was Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star slash singer slash actress Erica Jane. I have no idea who she is. Maybe I should know because it says like, well, she's famous and all this and that, and I have no idea. But to be fair, I don't really watch The Housewives at all. I've never watched a single episode, so never got into it. So therefore, I probably wouldn't. Oh shoot! I wouldn't have a clue as to who she is. So there you go. Other than maybe her singing. If I heard a song that she sang, I might know, but as of right now, I don't know. And says that she's also an actress. I haven't really seen her in anything. I think she said something, though, that she was in Broadway. I don't know. But anyway. The new episode of Ghost dropped. We loved it. Sass, the Native American Sass, he's got a new potential relationship. Dang it. He's got a new potential relationship with Joan. She's a 1940s screenwriter ghost. But he also still has a lingering crush with Shiki, so he's kind of got a love relationship problem there, which is kind of a good thing for him because I don't think he's ever. I mean, while he was living, I don't think he was ever really in a big relationship, so this is kind of big for him. At least it seems to be like now that he's in a love triangle, so to speak. But it sounds like he's kind of giving up his relationship with Shiki, at least the time being, to pursue a relationship with Joan. Or Joanne. But anyway, so it sounds really cool. There was a conversation between Joan and Pete, or Petey, before all of this, where they were kind of role-playing, and Sass overheard their conversation. He thought that Joan had a crush on Petey. So there's a ghost box in this episode. He puts himself into the ghost box to travel and hopes that he will find, I think he was going back to the other girl, more or less, or to try to find Shiki. At least that's what I kind of thought he was trying to do. But so anyway, so he gets inside the ghost box. Thor and the other ghosts find him in the ghost box, and then that is where Petey explains to him that tells him what really happened, and that's when he Sass is like, no, I really want to stay, and more or less Thor goes inside the ghost box and retrieves his buddy Sass. They are able to escape and stay on the property, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to go on there with Sass's new relationship with Joan. Sounds very interesting going forward, and that show is just, it's got good storyline, and it's just so funny, and I really enjoy that show. After my sadness with The Big Bang Theory going off the air, this kind of fills in that gap, I think, for me. So as far as sitcoms go, so I'm pretty happy right now. That one, of course, another show that's on there right now, I forgot the name of it, but anyway, we get into the new episode of Matlock. That one was interesting too, where Madeline Matlock is forced to come clean with Olympia. She thinks that Julian is behind the missing documents, which Olympia immediately goes in defense of her ex-husband, Julian. At the same time, she's furious with Madeline because, all these secrets that she was hiding and all that. So now she's like, I don't know who you are and all this. While Matlock is basically explaining to her that, no, you do know who I am. She's like, well, you even had a fake accent. Where'd your accent go? So then Matlock has to explain to her, like, okay, well, yes, I had a fake accent, but everything else about, and yes, I didn't tell you about my husband, but everything else is true, or pretty much everything is true. You met the real me. You helped me all the way through. I really think that Matlock was going to come clean to her eventually anyway at some point. But Olympia's a really smart lawyer. She figured everything out about Matlock before everybody else did. So, of course, she's got Matlock up in her old office. That's where she's keeping her locked up to hear about all of this. And then, of course, the two are still bickering back and forth. Matlock tells her, like, dude, I could have left anytime I wanted to, but I want to keep my friendship with you, so I didn't leave. She goes, and she shows her, like, her bracelet. She goes, like, I'm an elderly, so I could have hit this button any minute, and the paramedics could have came and rescued me at any moment in time, but I never pressed the button because, like I said, she wanted to keep her friendship with Olympia, and she wanted, of course, also she wants to take down whoever's responsible for waiting to take the opioids off the shelf, which killed her daughter. So she's definitely going after that because she wants to hold these people responsible for her daughter's death and potentially the death of thousands of other people that took this drug while it was still out in the market, even though these lawyers knew exactly what this drug can do. So, which is kind of a scary thing, but it's something that definitely is relatable to today and some of the stuff that's going on in the news. So, it was a very good episode. I loved it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. It seems like Olympia and Matlock are still going to be good friends. They're not going to be good friends yet. Maybe not per se, but Olympia, it ended where, and I know it's spoilers, but it ended where Olympia is now at Matlock's house, and she meets Matlock's husband for the first time as her husband. So, of course, he is shocked right now because he had no idea that Olympia was coming to the house, their real house. But like I said, it seems like Olympia is, even though I think there was kind of a trust issue that was broken there, it looks like Matlock is trying to mend that trust by allowing Olympia to come to her real house and see what's really going on. So I would say Olympia and Matlock are still going to be really good friends as they continue on with this show. I'm also going to say, too, I think this is going to be one of those shows which is going to kind of surprise people a little bit, most people that watch CBS, in the fact that I don't think this is a show that's supposed to be a long-running show. I think it's going to last maybe 2 to 3 seasons, maybe 4, and that'll be it. Because I think it's just basically to show who's responsible for the opioids case. Then it may die out from there, unless, because they may surprise me on that. They may try to keep it going if Matlock decides to stay on board with this company after she exposes that guy. They may kind of hold her on as a lawyer, or she may, because it looks like Olympia is trying to go out on her own and create her own team, and possibly her own firm. So it's also, that they could keep the show going with Matlock joining Olympia's team and kind of going from there. So I'm definitely intrigued to see what happens next on that show. It's very interesting. If you haven't watched it yet, you need to watch Matlock. I think people would really love it. And like I said, it's definitely, with the news that's going on today about drugs and all of that in the media, it definitely goes along with a lot of the stuff going on today. So it, I would say it's definitely something to watch, put it that way. So yeah, loved it. And then my other nerd talk before I'm done is WWE SmackDown, going over it. Nick Aldis, he called out Randy Orton to start off SmackDown for Orton's RKO last week on Aldis. Aldis wasn't happy about it. That's when Orton reminded him that, hey, I paid you double the time before when I gave you an RKO. For an RKO that I would give you in the future, so I'm already good. Which case Aldis said, hey, I want your respect, not your money. But Orton said, but Orton wanted a WrestleMania match. He still wants something. Now that he can't have his original plans, so where Aldis, and then he even told Aldis that he would apologize publicly to Mickie James if he RKO'd Aldis for not giving him a match. Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga then come out and they confront Orton and basically tell him that he looks ridiculous, for trying to get another match or whatever. Then Orton says, and then he starts mocking Tama Tonga, and the way Tama Tonga likes to make that weird noise of his. So this led up to a feud between the three of them. As we know, it's a 3-on-1 match, or a 2-on-1 match, but it's kind of a 3-on-1 too, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the werewolf came out with them. I can't remember at that time, but I know Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga are out there, so it's already 2-on-1 anyway. I want to say those are the only two that came out at that time, come to think of it. But anyway, still 2-on-1. So out comes LA Knight to even the odds. So he helps out Randy Orton. Sets up for, which I'm sure is setting it up for a tag team, and it does. It sets up for a tag team later on for the night. So no surprise there. But a great way to kick off the show. I like that part. Ladies, then we go into the ladies tag team gauntlet match. Basically, this is, by the way, this is for the tag team. They're basically, the winner of this is going to challenge for the tag team titles at WrestleMania, which right now Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan have. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, they ran the table that night. They won the first match of the gauntlet between them and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. Then they defeated Natalya and Maxine Dupree. That's when Kaden Carter and Katana Chance come out and they suffer a loss to Bayley and Valkyria. And then Bayley and Valkyria would defeat B-Fab and Machine. But they defeat Mission and B-Fab. And last but not least, they would face Alba Fire and Piper Niven. And Bayley and Valkyria would defeat them as well. And that was where, basically now we know that they're going to challenge for the tag team belts at WrestleMania. Where basically Liv Morgan and Rodriguez, they ended up into the ring after the match was after the gauntlet match was over, and basically confronted their new challengers. So there's some smack talk going on in the ring after all that was said and done. But yeah, so they got a week left, and then they just got a week left, and then they are going to face each other for those tag team titles at WrestleMania. So a lot going on there. I'm really excited about it. Sounds like it's going to be a fun deal. I want to say it goes on next week, isn't it? So I have to look it up, but anyway, I'm excited for WrestleMania. Sounds like it's going to be really good. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre are still selling their feud for WrestleMania as well. I don't think they really have to sell much, though. I think it's going to be a good match between the two of them. I'm already picking Damian Priest for that match. Oh, I should say, too, for Valkyria and Bayley versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, I'm picking Bayley and Valkyria. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to run the tables again. It's going to be fun to see those two as a tag team. I think everybody's behind them and wants to see it more. So I think they're going to take the tag team belts. And I think because they take the tag team belt titles, we're probably going to see more ladies tag team action than what we've been seeing here lately. So, at least finally. So, and then maybe they'll do something with the whole storyline with Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Time will tell, as I like to say, but it looks very interesting there. Phoenix made his WWE debut. He defeated Berto, Santos Escobar, and Angel decided not to come out because they wanted Berto to prove himself. I'd say he kind of failed. Although he looked good in the match, I mean, he still didn't come up with a W, so I think they're going to be a little upset with him there. But good debut for Phoenix. I think he displayed really well. I can't wait to see what he does next. So, looks like he's going to be on SmackDown. But, yeah, as the time goes on, I like to see what he does with the LWO, maybe. Maybe he might join later on sometime. Maybe he might join if they decide to, which it looks like they might as time goes on. I think Finn Balor eventually is going to leave the Judgment Day. So maybe if, say, Phoenix joins this Judgment Day, they kind of make it more of a Latino group, which I would be excited about. Which, you know, would be basically the anti-LWO fight there, or whatever you want to say. A feud between them and the LWO to continue as time goes on. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like to see what's going to go on there. Maybe that was the whole reason for Phoenix coming on, is so they could kind of attract him to the LWO. Since we're kind of seeing, not to the LWO, but maybe to the Judgment Day. Because it looks to me like Penta might be joining the LWO as time goes on. I definitely see Penta perhaps joining the LWO and making that a little bit stronger. So, like I said, time will tell, but it's very an interesting storyline there. Then we have, during that match, we also had Joe Joe said that Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair received disciplinary actions for their promos last week because, as we all know, they both kind of got off of their... They said more in their promos than what they were supposed to. They kind of got off script a little bit with each other. I don't know if they did it to get at each other or they just did it, for audience sake, but it did not go over. I don't think it really went over too well with Hunter and the executives at WWE. I don't think it's something they like when wrestlers go off script. So, yeah, that wasn't, because one thing is they're not really prepared for what's about to happen, and two, it looked like it perhaps escalated the feud between the two of them, because from what I've heard, they kind of got a real feud offset or off script or whatever you want to say it. So besides their match coming up, perhaps now they'll probably have to watch these two a little bit closer. I don't know. But it makes me want to watch that match all the more now. Then we had Vega versus Chelsea Green. Selena Vega. Selena Vega won the match, but that one was kind of a confusing match. I'm not sure what they were doing there. Selena Vega got the win from a countout. So, which I can kind of see that. Maybe they did that way, so that way Chelsea Green still keeps her title and still keeps that controversy that, you know, even though she is the women's U.S. champion, maybe she doesn't exactly deserve the title. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I think that's kind of the storyline they're kind of going with is, okay, yes, she is the champion, but does she really deserve to be champion? Because she more or less finds loopholes to keep the title, or she wins by disqualification. So, or in this case, a count out, which again is still controversial win because, I mean, well, it's a controversial loss because she lost the match, but keeps her title. So, but I think the way it ended there, because of the way the ref counted, it didn't sound like he counted all the way to 10. Even Vega was a little confused about what was going on there. Maybe it seemed like WWE might have shortened the match, or was told to shorten the match, which kind of threw off what was going on in that ring. So I don't know. I don't know what the protocol was there, but it just looked a little sloppy. So, not necessarily WWE's best match of the night. Definitely not. But moving on, they made up for it later. Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez. That match looked pretty good. I think both wrestlers were kind of holding back a little bit. Not their best work exactly, but they still did a good match nevertheless. And I think they're leaving things out, things out there for perhaps a future matchup between the two of them. Because I think we're gonna see them lock horns again, probably after all this is over. After WrestleMania, we're probably going to see a Stratton versus Perez match in the future, where they will challenge each other for the title, and it will be more of a pay-per-view match. I do look for that to happen, because as I've said time and time again, and I'll still say that, even though we're setting up for WrestleMania, I look for Stratton to keep, after everything is said and done, after WrestleMania is over, I think Stratton is still going to be your women's champion. I don't see that changing. I think Flair's going to be upset. She's going to be behind she'll be moved to the back of the line. She's going to work her way back up. But in the meantime, I think Perez is going to be the next. She'll be in the forefront to challenge Stratton next. She's going to earn her way first. I think something's going to happen there. We may see a Perez versus Flair match in the meantime. Because like I said, Flair is definitely going to work her way back up, which is going to upset Perez because she's going to think she deserves it. So, but that would be interesting. But yes, I do think the Stratton is, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen anything to change my mind. Because Stratton did win this match between Perez, like I said, and then Flair does attack her. She does, but she gets her, basically catches her off guard, yanks her out of the ring, and then just assaults her, knocks her out. That's where Wade Barrett stops the onslaught. But even with all that going on, and Flair trying to look big and bad, I look for Stratton to keep the belt. I don't see her losing to Flair. In fact, I still look for that match to be a big one between the two of them. Don't get me wrong. I don't see either one holding back. I think it's going to be a really brutal match. I think it's going to be good to a T. But I just don't see Stratton. I mean, I think it's a build match, basically. I think it's where they're using Flair and, her past as a as holding the belt multiple times in the past. I see that them basically just using Flair as a build for Stratton to basically cast her up a little bit higher as a champion. So, which is, at least I hope they are. I'm not just hoping. I'd say they're going to do it. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Because Stratton hadn't had the title for that long. Flair has had the title multiple times in her past. She doesn't really need the title to solidify her legacy. She's already got a strong legacy going. So like I said, I see Flair losing, probably not by much. I say it's going to be a close match. I think it's going to be something where basically Flair's going to be upset that she lost. She's going to be fighting and clawing to get herself right back into, into the main thing between those two. So basically, she'll be fighting and clawing for a rematch. And like I said, I think that's going to set up for a match between Perez and Flair, because, again, we go back to earlier this year where Flair kicked Roxanne Perez out of the ring to keep going for WrestleMania. I think there's going to be a rivalry there between Perez and Flair that's going to be building from that point already. So, yeah, I definitely see that coming full swing eventually, and it may set up for either a rematch between Flair and Stratton in the future, or perhaps we're going to see a Perez versus Stratton at some point in a pay-per-view. But either way, I definitely look for Stratton to keep her title at WrestleMania. I don't think that's going to change. And like I said, that's going to put Flair at the back of the line. And as we all know about Flair, she does not like the back of the line. She's going to do everything in her power to get back to challenging for that title. So that's just who Flair is. If you know, you know. But then the last match of the night, we had LA Knight versus Randy Orton. LA Knight and Randy Orton defeating Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. So as I said, as a tag team match, LA Knight and Orton won. In fact, LA Knight was the one who ended the match with his signature move. That's when Jacob Fatu, he went after LA Knight because, as we know, those two are going to have a match at WrestleMania against one another. So they're basically setting up for that match between the two of them, where I think we're going to see Orton versus Tama Tonga at WrestleMania. Time will tell, because the two are still, Tonga during that match was mocking Orton, so he's getting back at Randy Orton. So I kind of wonder if we're not going to see Tama Tonga versus Randy Orton, which would set Randy Orton up for a possible matchup for the U.S. title later on down the road. So, because Orton did say he wanted to be in a title picture of some sort earlier on when after he was done with Kevin Owens. Well, Kevin Owens is no longer in the picture. So this may give Orton a chance to go after perhaps U.S. title, or eventually go after the undisputed title. So either way, it sounds very interesting. I'm definitely intrigued to see what they're going to do with Randy Orton now that Kevin Owens is injured. So, because rumor has it, a lot of people thought that it was fake. And then I did hear that someone posted anyway that Kevin Owens is out until December, at least until December, with his neck injury. So there's that. But anyway, WrestleMania looks good. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. Now we're moving on. Doctor Who's new episode dropped tonight. I loved it. The only thing is, they had these new robots in there, and they looked a lot like the Cybermen. So well, they didn't look like the Cybermen, but they sounded a lot like the Cybermen. So I kept thinking, are these the Cybermen? Is that what they're going with? They're not Cybermen. They're different type of robots, but yet they're alien robots. Still seems like the Cybermen. I'm not sure. So that's where the confusion was. I'm still thinking it has something to do with Cybermen. But anyway, the Doctor has a new companion. I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do there, because it looked like at the very end that the Earth exploded, and then they showed a preview where the new companion, I forgot her name now, but anyway, her and the Doctor end up in the 1950s. Almost look like 1950s United States. Again, I don't know, but very interesting. So there you go. That's my nerd talk. For television anyway. Now here's my nerd talk of what I did today. So they had Cosplay for Hope. A Cosplay for Hope walk. It's Cosplay for Hope. Basically, they stand up for mental illness, and they also stand up for suicide prevention. Is one of their big keys. So I fully support what they do. I love what they do. They are born in, well, the company, well, not called a company, but the organization is basically born and bred here in Warrensburg, Missouri. So it's not very far. It's just down the road is where the organization is from. Very good organization. I have become friends with one of their co-founders, April, over the years. Really nice person. Got to know her. Yeah, they have a really cool organization going on, and the Cosplay for Hope today was really awesome. It was great to see people cosplaying. I cosplayed myself. Well, I didn't cosplay me, but I cosplayed today too. I dressed up as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And my dog Daisy got in on the mix also. She dressed up as as a Wookiee. So a little Wookiee, but still. So Chewie, basically. Mini Chewie. So it was very fun. Angela went with us. She didn't dress up, but she did have she was showing support for Harry Potter. She had a Harry Potter shirt on, so and she did participate in the walk with us. So even though she didn't dress up, she did participate. She had a lot of fun. Also, they have some really cool vendors there as well. Just a fun setup this morning. We had a great time. Would have been nicer if the weather would have been a little bit warmer maybe this morning, but other than that, we had a great morning. Still clear skies nevertheless, so it was a great day. Then later on this afternoon, or whatever, depending on when this airs. So keep in mind this is Saturday, okay? But later on, we went to UCM. Sean Astin, who plays Samwise, as you all might know, along with other different characters he's played, over the years. Great actor. He spoke about mental health at the university. We loved his talk. We had a great time there as well, and I think we're going to be taking some of the things that he said to heart. So maybe some of the stuff that he said will transpire with us as time goes on. And I'm definitely going to be looking in to see who else, because UCM did say at the end, or some of their people did say at the end, they're going to be bringing more people in as time goes on as speakers. So I'll definitely be looking in to see who else they bring in as time goes on, and see if there's people that we might want to go see. But I definitely liked Astin's his talk today. It was really cool, and yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing who else they're going to bring in. It was a lot of fun. And then last but not least, so to end the day, well, two things to end the day. First off, we had our horror group session with Dr. Torpor today. As a lot of you may know, we have like a horror group that we get together with every Saturday in Warrensburg. We were talking about the meaning behind some of the horror movies, which was a good talk for us. And we also had a question, which I was going to bring up to you guys in this segment. And by the way, I did my Dr. Torpor mention, so I'm going to put that up over there too. But at any rate, so the homework that we got, which we don't do homework in that group very often or hardly at all, but we did have homework. We're trying to help out a group member. So he wants some good horror films, foreign horror films, that are basically have a PG-13 rating, because he wants to show it in one of the summer classes that he teaches. So he wants it to be PG-13, but he wants a good foreign film that is in the horror genre that would be something that that his students may want to watch, or something that he may want to talk about. I know we already mentioned, which I forgot already the Japanese name for it, but it translates as The Grudge. So we've already mentioned that one. And then Godzilla -1, we mentioned that one too, because it's kind of a horror movie. It's a monster movie anyway, but we kind of thought that one kind of fits the bill of what he's kind of looking for a little bit as well. So that being said, if anybody has any other ideas of movies that they can watch, let us know. Because I know we started naming off some different movies from Japan, but he did say different foreign ones. So if y'all know anything that maybe from maybe France or Spain or, wherever, that you all might think is a really good film, something with subtitles, basically. To get there, I think he's basically just trying to get his students out of their comfort zone where they look at subtitles, and but also see what other countries come up with. So, which would be a lot of fun, I think. But yeah, so if you all have any ideas what we could add to that, let me know in the comments, and I'll let my friend know what I come up with. So, other than that, we watched Torpor's movie of the night on Otherworlds TV tonight. His movie of choice for the night, even though he filmed his segment back in 2024. The movie, This Is Not a Test, which is a 1962 film. My thoughts on it were, of course, it's kind of based on the Cold War, or it kind of gives you that Cold War feel, because their missile is dropping and everybody's trying to find a place to hide for this missile. So you would think the missile in itself would be the nightmare, but it's showing that actually people panicking and showing what people do when they panic is actually more of the horror or the scary thing than the actual missile dropping. So, which my thoughts, like I said, my thoughts on it are, I think they try to keep it as PG-13 as they could because it's a 1962 film. But from what I know of people, I think they could have made, based on the films that we see now, if they redid that film, which I could see them doing someday, I could see them potentially adding more to it, making it more of a rated R film, probably, because, I mean, we're talking about, it's not just about people panicking, but at the same time, it's just see what people do during these situations. You know, you probably have about 3 to 5 minutes to live. You know, if this country is dropping a missile on you, right? So, depending on how far out it is and how quickly it's coming, but you might have 3 to 5 hours to live if the thing hits. So, in that situation, I mean, I was going to say, so like if you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you you have 5 hours to live. But in this case, everybody's getting the same diagnosis. Everybody in this country now has, or at least everybody within so many miles radius now has 5 minutes to live, you know. So what are you going to do in those 5 minutes? You have people that are trying to escape. You have people that are trying to hide from this thing. And then you've got people that are saying, you know what, F this. We've only got 5 minutes to live. Let's just make the best of it. Or, you know, who cares? Humanity's going to go out the window. I'm going to do whatever I want for the next 5 minutes. You know, maybe that would be their decision. It didn't show that in this movie. It was more or less showing people panicking, either hiding, running away, or, you know, trying to run from this thing and taking advantage of anybody and everybody as they could, because they're going to get the hell out. They're looking out for themselves, you know, every man for himself kind of thing. People being total, I want to say, what would be the word I want to say where you wouldn't get in trouble for saying it? I'm just going to say it anyway. A total dick. Would probably be the best way to say it. Just trying to be a leader for people that don't really want a leader, or at least being forced to do something they don't want to do in situations, because the other person thinks that they're looking out for the whole group, and everybody else is looking at them like they are nuts. So, I mean, the movie still shown chaos, but like I said, they did it in a PG-13 kind of way. I kind of think that it would be a lot worse than what they were showing. So, I mean, they've shown a little bit, but I would say it would be a lot worse than that. A lot worse. So, but that's my take on that movie. I still enjoyed it. It did give me something to think about. And as a person that likes to write stories, it definitely stuck in my mind and gave me an idea for maybe something I might write later. And that kind of basically taking that whole storyline and modernizing it somehow. So, like, if, say, a missile was going to hit the United States or hit part of the United States today, see what people would do to panic nowadays versus back then. You know, might be something to think about. It might be possibly a good story there. So, something I'm contemplating in my mind. So, there was that, and then last but not least, the pink moon tonight. It shone brightly. Of course, it's not really pink. It's because of the pink blossoms that are growing right now in spring and all that. That's why they call it the pink moon. But it's just a bright full moon that takes effect in the spring. So that's why they call it a pink moon. But it was really cool, fun to watch tonight, or fun to see tonight. So there is that. And then, last but not least, I know I'm getting into an hour here. Trying to get my stuff. My cats knocked everything over, as always, because that's what cats do. But I have my questions of the night. I'm going to keep it short, though, so I'm just going to do my questions in the black book for now. Get caught up in those, and then I'll do my Missouri Day of History, and then we're done. So I am going to skip this book, and then we'll get back to it in my future video. So there's that. Because I got more to talk about with y'all, but I know I'm already getting into an hour, and you're probably getting tired of me talking. And I completely understand that. So try to wind things down a little bit, but it's been such a fun weekend, and I've enjoyed myself. So I hope y'all like this video. And as you notice, I did quit yawning as the video went on, so bear with me. The yawns do quit when I start waking up, as I start actually like communicating more. But I definitely got more to share with y'all as definitely as the week progresses. I'll definitely share even more with y'all than what I already have. So let's see where I'm at here. I think I'm on the 10th, and then I gotta get to the 12th. And I'll save, even though this will, well, this airs on the 13th, probably, maybe, so I'll go to the 13th as well. So here we go. So I got a few questions to answer, or, you know. What are you looking forward to right now? What am I looking forward to right now? Well, I was going to say I was looking forward to this weekend, but now that the weekend is pretty much over, I'm still looking forward to the stuff I got planned for Sunday. But this will probably air on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to WrestleMania. I know that. That's one thing I'm looking forward to that's coming up. I'm also looking forward to my vacation. It's coming up in a couple weeks. Well, in a few weeks. It starts that first weekend in May, and it goes to the second weekend of May. I'm really looking forward to it. I know I'm going to have a lot of fun on that weekend. That week rather, it's going to give me a time to relax, and we're going to check out a haunted house the very first part of the week. We're going to be right around St. Joe. I'm just really looking forward to that week. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a great time. So I'm going to go with those things for right now. Oh, and then also another thing I'm looking forward to, number 3, they have a wrestling / anime con that's coming up in Kansas City. I forgot exactly what it's called, but anyway, I know we're looking forward to it. We're going to get tickets this week for it, so, but yeah, I know we're looking forward to that. I think we're going to have a lot of fun at that one, too. So yeah, there's stuff that we're definitely looking forward to doing. Oh, and then we got a ball game too we're going to in May. Royals ball game that we're going to in May as well. So quite a few things we're looking forward to right now. So there you go. What is your most recent victory or success? My most recent victory or success? Going to the walk today was my most recent, could I call that a victory? Because, I mean, come on. It is for a good cause. It is for raising awareness for mental health. So, that, and then going to Sean's talk today. And we had a great time there as well. I call those victories, if you will. They were a lot of fun, but at the same time, it was, this whole day anyway, was about mental health. So, educating myself more on mental health, even though I may have heard it before, hearing it again still helps, from Sean Payton's speech. But also, like I said, the cosplay for hope helped as well. kind of shown that, hey, we're not alone in this fight of mental health. Like, even if you're not suicidal or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't need help with your mental health. Mental health is definitely a big issue and should be addressed. And like I said, I like what everybody had to say today. And it was, like I said, it was educational still, because I'm still learning more and more about what people have to say about mental health all the time. And at the same time, it was rewarding because you're helping to raise awareness about mental health through those things. So I would say a very victorious and successful day in that regard. And I definitely looking forward to having more days like that in the future. Alright, so my next question here for the 12th, which would be for today, and I'll do Sunday anyway, because like I said, this will probably air on Sunday or something like that. So, my latest daydream was about blank. I say my latest daydream, like I was saying a while ago, would have been Dr. Torpor's movie that I watched. So, because like I said, I was actually coming up with maybe possibly some stuff that I could write in my spare time, whether it be a short story or a novel, basically taking that movie and maybe modernizing it and also making it, putting my own spin on it, if you will. So I think that will be a lot of fun and see what I do with it. So there's that. Probably going to make it more rated R than what they did in that movie, but nevertheless, I think I'll have a lot of fun with that one. So I'm definitely putting it there because I'm writing something else right now, but it's definitely right there that I will come back to it. So there's that. And then last question, what have you had a reoccurring dream about? What have I had a reoccurring dream about? Well, my dreams at night, as far as that goes, I haven't had a reoccurring dream right now. Yeah, every dream I've had has been different so far, so I don't have a reoccurring one as far as like actual dreams go. As far as like maybe dreams like what I'm going to do, still having right now, I would say more or less reoccurring thoughts on the current story that I'm writing right now. So I'm having reoccurring thoughts on it, and I'm having reoccurring thoughts on possibly getting a 3D printer in the future. I'm kind of looking into that, so I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it's going to open the doors for a lot of different stuff that I could do around the house, and also potentially do to make a little extra few dollars on the side. So it's something I'm thinking about anyway, getting into. So there's that. So I answered those questions. So now we're getting into Missouri Day of History, and then I'm done. So I know this is going to go a little over an hour. We're already 58 minutes in, so bear with me. I am almost done. We're doing this, and then that will be a wrap, Jack. So getting into April. And I have the same days as that. So first we'll go into April the 10th. We're going back to make sure that's where I'm at. Yep, that's where I'm at. So we're going back to 1961. McDonald County secedes from Missouri. Oh boy, that's interesting. This McDonald County became known as McDonald Territory for several months by locals after several perceived slights by the state of Missouri. First, Highway 71 was rerouted around Noel, Missouri. I seen a video just early on today about Noel, Missouri. It looked really interesting. Some of the I don't know if that was 71 or what road that is, because I'm not familiar with Noel, Missouri. I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar with it, if you get what I'm saying. But like some of the mountain regions, as you're driving through or whatever, not mountains, but hill regions or whatever you want to call it, it looked really interesting as you drive. So it makes me want to travel there to see what some of that scenery there. But anyway, so that Highway 71 rerouting impacted businesses. Then the highway department released new maps of several McDonald County towns left off, hurting local tourism. This either an honest mistake or a major insult. So county leaders declared independence from the state. They opposed being annexed into Arkansas or Oklahoma, or even becoming the 51st state, which would be really small. But the publicity was good, and the two sides eventually coincided. Well, eventually they reconciled. They made, they made good with each other. Because that's all still part of Missouri, or at least it is now. But after tutorial stamps and visas had already been printed, so like after they became known as a territory again, that's when they decided, you know what, we're going to reconcile. Let's just put it all behind us. We're good. So yeah. That is very interesting. I did not know that about Missouri, but I do now. All right, so then we go into April 11th. We're going back into time to 1842. Charles Dickens visits Missouri, and he is not impressed. I had no idea he visited Missouri, but now I do. By the way, they do have a Charles Dickens Day in Warrensburg. They do it every December. So where people around town dress up from the Charles Dickens era, and they also have music from that era that they play. They also have like a horse-drawn carriage that horse-drawn wagon anyway, that will take you around downtown Warrensburg. It's really cool. So if you ever get a chance to experience that part around Christmas time, I definitely strongly encourage it. I know Angela and I did that last year, and we enjoyed it. It's something that I go to every weekend when they have it. I don't know if Angela's going to be able to do that every weekend because she works on Saturdays, and that's typically when they do it, is on a Saturday. But it was still a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, or I enjoy it every year. It's something to do. Anyway, back to this, what they're saying here. So the English author came to America in 1842, prior to his 30th birthday, to see the young country for himself. Even though he was at the height of his popularity and the audiences to see him were large, he was often in a foul mood, likely because he liked solitude. Well, I can understand that. When he arrived in St. Louis, he was impressed with the architecture, but didn't think the city would ever measure up to other places he had seen, like Cincinnati. He also wrote that he enjoyed the open spaces outside of the city and the visits with people like William Greenleaf Eliot. Even though he did offer up some negative views about the city, including slavery, his visit wasn't as negative as it often portrayed. So he still wasn't. It sounds to me like, because this makes it sound like he was not impressed with Missouri, But then it says here that he was impressed with the more or less everything going on outside of St. Louis, but he wasn't too impressed with St. Louis itself. So that leads me to believe, like, okay, well, he likes Missouri, he doesn't like St. Louis. You're making it sound like he doesn't like the whole state, but let me go back here, because I think it said... Yeah, he wrote that he enjoyed open spaces outside of the city. So he enjoyed Missouri. He enjoyed the open spaces because he likes his solitude. So he enjoyed the open spaces in Missouri around St. Louis. He didn't like St. Louis. That's more or less what he was saying, but you're portraying it differently here. I don't know. It seemed like this book really likes St. Louis, so... maybe not, but it seemed like whoever wrote this, they really like the city of St. Louis. They kind of talk about it more than they do anything else. Alright, anyway, moving on. So, April the 12th, we are going back in time to 1945, and we're talking about Harry S. Truman. Harry S. Truman Harry S. Truman becomes President Truman on April 12th, 1945. I believe that was when Franklin D. Roosevelt basically died. Yes. So Franklin D. Roosevelt, he passes away. And Harry S. Truman is vice president. He takes over as the president. He is sworn in on April the 12th. 1945, and he takes over just as World War II is coming closer to an end. And as we all know, Harry S. Truman, I mean, I'm looking on here as I'm talking to y'all, but I know a lot of this history, so I don't really have to read a whole lot of it. But that's when he's sworn into office. And like I said, he basically puts an end to World War II at that time by dropping the atomic bombs on Japan. I'm trying to read here. I don't know if they have when that happened. But yeah, he does that, and as we all know, he later on becomes... He is elected president... after this, because I believe this was when Harry S. Truman becomes president. I believe this was during Roosevelt's last year in term, and then Harry S. Truman, I think that was his last year, but I have to go back and look. But nevertheless, Truman later on becomes the 33rd president. Well, you know what I mean. He becomes an elected president. It says here he was elected by voters in 1948. So no, this was not Roosevelt's last year, but nevertheless, so that's how that went down. That's really cool. Another thing to note too from April the 12th was in 2004, Miss Missouri Shandy Finese wins Miss USA. So Miss Missouri won Miss USA in 2004, April the 12th, 2004. So that's really cool. Then last but not least, now we're going into April the 13th, and I'll be caught up. So for that, we go back in time to 1928. The West Plains Dance Hall explosion kills 39 people. That's interesting. I don't remember them talk about that in school, so let's see here. At least not in my school. Maybe they did in other schools, but they didn't in mine. The tragedy in southern Missouri town, in the southern Missouri town, impacted nearly everyone in the community. The blast happened at 11:05 p.m. Boy, that was late at night. as the dance floor was crowded with couples. While the band was playing one final song, the explosion sent bodies flying and was felt 3 miles away. By the time everyone was accounted for, 39 people were confirmed dead. There are several theories about the blast, but most point to gas or under the building that somehow ignited. The local newspaper reported as many as 7,000 people attended the memorial service. Only thing is here, though, it doesn't say. It just says in the southern Missouri town, and it says the West Plains Dance Hall. I don't know if there's a West Plains, Missouri. I'd have to look that up. Because if that's not it, then I'm just thinking West Plains Dance Hall is probably just the name of the dance hall. Not really of the town, so I don't really know what town this is in. I'd have to look it up, because I don't think that's the name of the town. It might be. I'll look it up and I'll get back with you all on the next video for sure. Seems like there's something else I was supposed to look up last time too, so maybe I'll go back and look up and see what I was supposed to look up last time and get back with y'all on that too, if there was anything. But I will look that up. That's very interesting. Also, in April 13th, we are going back to 1996. We're not going too far back. Major League Soccer comes to Missouri when the Kansas City Wizards, or Kansas City Wiz, entered the league as a charter team. The team is now known as Sporting KC. So that happened in 1996. I don't remember when they came in, but I was still young at the time, and I didn't really pay attention to soccer too much. But I do remember the team being called the Kansas City Wiz. Well, I remember them being called the Kansas City Wizards. I don't know about Wiz, but I do know that they were called the Kansas City Wizards. And then basically the soccer league changed their persona or whatever, where the teams could not be called a specific team name. They had to more or less represent the city more than anything, kind of like basically more like traditional soccer would or whatever. So that's when the team changed their name to Sporting KC, which I don't understand that. I think Wizards was a whole lot better name, and I wish they'd go back to it. If you watch the female soccer league, the Kansas City name for them is the Kansas City Current. So they do have a team, a little bit more of a legitimate team name. So I don't see why the men's soccer can't do the same thing, but I know it's the two leagues are projected by two different entities, so but still it's kind of weird. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'll be doing a lot of the editing on Sunday, and then hopefully either Sunday night or Monday this will air, and then we'll go from there. But in the meantime, I hope you all enjoy it. Like I said, peace out, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.